I've made a lot of stupid decisions in my life, and what I'm about to tell you is a mistake that I never did twice, because I learned from it the hard way. In 2010, I almost didn't go to the World Cup. My brother bought 2 tickets for the England vs Algeria group stage match, but a work emergency forced him to back out at the last minute. He offered me his ticket and told me to find someone else to go. I was 24, living in London at the time, and my friend Marcus agreed before I even finished asking him to go with me. We flew into Johannesburg and spent a couple of days soaking up the atmosphere. The entire city seemed to be vibrating with excitement. Everywhere you went, there were crowds of fans, street vendors, flags, and the constant drones of vuvuzelas echoing through the streets at all hours. The match itself was forgettable. No goals from both sides that left supporters disappointed, and around 10 p.m. we left Cape Town Stadium with thousands of other fans and started making our way toward the shuttle buses heading back into the city. Marcus wanted to stop at a street vendor to grab some food. I told him to make it quick, and that's when I first noticed the man. He stood perfectly still while everyone around him moved. He wore a yellow South Africa jersey and was positioned just beyond the flow of people leaving the stadium. At first, there was nothing obviously threatening about him, except the fact that he was standing still, looking at us. I pointed him out to Marcus. Marcus glanced over, shrugged, and said he was probably waiting for a friend. We grabbed our food and continued toward the buses. The crowd thinned quickly. Within 10 minutes, there were only a few dozen people scattered along the street. I looked back again, and the man was still there, about 20 feet behind us, walking at exactly our pace, not talking to anyone, not looking anywhere else, just following. I told Marcus, and this time he didn't dismiss it as quickly. To test it, we deliberately took a wrong turn down a side street. The man turned too. The second he did, my stomach dropped. Marcus stopped smiling. Neither of us said anything for a few seconds. We just walked faster. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. We were idiots. And honestly, you're right. What happened next was a stupid decision. Marcus was actually the one who suggested going deeper into the alley. His reasoning was that there were 2 of us and only 1 of him. And if the guy tried anything, we'd have the number advantage. At the time, after seeing him follow us, that logic somehow made sense. Looking back, it was probably the second worst decision we made that night. The side street led into a narrow alley lined with corrugated metal fencing and the blank backs of buildings. It was dimly lit and felt isolated from the noise of the city. And by the time we realized the alley ended in a dead end, it was too late. The man was already behind us. The distance between us had shrunk to less than 10 feet. Then he spoke. Just 2 words.
"Give it."
We turned. A pocket knife sat low in his right hand. It wasn't a large blade, but it didn't need to be. What scared me the most was how calm he looked. There was no shouting, no threats, no attempt to intimidate us. He simply stood there, holding the knife like someone who had done this before, waiting for us to hand over everything. In that moment, all the confidence about having a number advantage disappeared. 2 people against 1 sounds reassuring until a knife appears. Then the math changes very quickly. Marcus handed over his phone immediately. His hands were shaking. Mine were too. I reached into my back pocket for my wallet and could barely get my fingers to cooperate. The man watched us patiently. No anger, no excitement, just quiet certainty. We handed over our phones, wallets, cash, and the small camera hanging around Marcus's neck. He took everything without even checking it. Then he backed away 3 steps, turned around, and walked off. Not ran, walked. Within seconds, he disappeared back down the alley. The silence afterward felt surreal. Marcus and I just stood there in the dark, trying to process what just happened. The distant sound of music drifted across the city, but otherwise, there was nothing. Eventually, we made our way back toward the main roads and found a group of other fans. A local police officer helped us contact our guest house, and after a long, frustrating night of reports and borrowed phones, we finally got back. The next morning, I wasn't even thinking about the money or the phones. What bothered me was realizing how long that guy had been watching us before we ever noticed him. Marcus and I spent the rest of the trip joking around how stupid we were for walking into that alley. But the truth is, it wasn't funny. We'd spotted him early. We knew something felt off. And instead of staying with the crowd, we practically handed him the opportunity he was waiting for. Even now, whenever I catch the same person behind me, I pay attention, because that night taught me something. Most people who are following you don't suddenly appear out of nowhere. They are usually there long before you realize it. Before this happened, I was one of those people who shared everything online. If I was at a restaurant, I'd post it. If I was heading somewhere interesting, I'd post about it before I even got there. Looking back, I cringe at how much information I was giving away to complete strangers. This happened during the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. At the time, I was 26 and living in Melbourne, Australia. I traveled to Qatar with 4 friends, 2 of my girlfriends and 2 guy friends. We had been planning the trip for months. None of us were huge football fans, but the World Cup felt like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. The first few days were amazing. The atmosphere was unlike anything I'd ever seen. Fans from every corner of the world were packed into the streets, restaurants, fan zones, and stadiums. And like always, I was posting everything. Pictures of our hotel, videos from the stadium, photos of our meals, Instagram stories showing exactly where we were and where we planned to go next. At the time, I thought nothing of it. Then, on the 4th day, I got a message request from a guy named Daniel. The name immediately sounded familiar. About a year earlier, he had approached me at a sport bar in Melbourne. He wasn't aggressive or anything, just persistent. I politely told him I wasn't interested. A few weeks later, he messaged me on Instagram. I ignored it. Then another message, and another. Eventually, I blocked him and forgot about it. Or at least, I thought I did. The message request simply said,
"Looks like you're having fun in Qatar."
I remember feeling a little weird seeing it. I checked the profile, different account, same guy. I blocked that account too and moved on. The next day, my friends and I were exploring a marketplace near one of the fan zones. While we were walking, one of my friends suddenly asked me if I knew the guy standing behind us. I turned around and immediately recognized him. It was Daniel, standing maybe 30 feet away, just watching. At first, I honestly convinced myself it had to be a coincidence. There were hundreds of thousands of tourists in Qatar for the World Cup. What were the chances? But when I looked back again a few minutes later, he was still there. And when we changed direction, he changed direction too. The uncomfortable feeling in my stomach got worse. I told my friends about him and showed them his old Instagram profile. They agreed it was strange, but none of us wanted to jump to conclusions. Eventually we lost sight of him. For the rest of the day, I kept checking behind me. Nothing. No sight of him. I started convincing myself I was overreacting. Then, that night, I posted another story. It was a photo from a rooftop restaurant. Nothing special, just dinner with friends. About 20 minutes later, one of my guy friends got up to use the restroom. A few minutes after that, one of my girlfriends leaned closer to me. "Don't turn around immediately," she said. I slowly looked over my shoulder, and sitting by himself was Daniel, maybe 4 tables away, looking directly at me. I hadn't posted the restaurant's name, but I had posted enough of the skyline and surrounding area that anyone could probably figure it out. That realization hit me hard. He wasn't randomly running into me. He was finding me through my stories. After that, my friends became much more protective. Whenever we went somewhere, we stayed together. And for the next 2 days, we didn't see him. I thought maybe he'd finally gotten the message. Then came the day that scared me the most. We were visiting a large fan festival before an evening match. Thousands of people were everywhere. Music, food vendors, crowds packed shoulder to shoulder. At one point, I stepped away from the group to use a restroom located near the edge of the venue. I told my friends where I was going and that I'd be quick. As I came out and started walking back, I noticed someone standing near a barrier head. My stomach immediately dropped. It was him, Daniel. He smiled when he saw me. Not a normal smile, the kind people force when they're trying to appear friendly. I instantly turned around. He called my name. I ignored him. Then he started walking faster.
"Can you just talk to me for a minute?"
I kept walking. He caught up quickly. At that point, there weren't many people around us. Most of the crowd was concentrated closer to the main event area. I remember my heart beating so fast. He stepped in front of me, still smiling, still acting polite.
"I flew all this way, and you're still ignoring me?"
The way he said it made my blood run cold. Not because he was shouting, because he sounded completely serious. I told him I wasn't interested and asked him to leave me alone. For a second, he just stared at me. Then, the smile disappeared. Instantly, like someone flipped a switch. His face changed completely.
You think you're too good for me?
He said. His voice sounded different, angrier, meaner. I took a step backward. He stepped forward. I told him to move. Instead, he started listing the places I had been during the trip. The restaurant, the market, the fan zone, the stadium, all places I'd posted online. It felt like he was proving how easily he'd been able to track me. At that point, I was genuinely scared. Then I heard someone shouting my name. One of my guy friends was coming toward us. The rest of the group was right behind him. The second Daniel saw them, he backed away. Not quickly, not panicked, just slowly, still staring at me. Then he turned and disappeared into the crowd. The rest of the trip was miserable. Every time I saw someone wearing similar clothes, my heart skipped a beat. Every crowded street made me nervous. We never saw him again, but none of us felt comfortable for the remaining of the trip. When I got back to Australia, I deleted dozens of old posts. I made my account private and stopped posting my location in real time. These days, if I share vacation photos, they are usually uploaded after I've already left, because what happened in Qatar made me realize something I should have known long before. Most people looking at your social media are harmless, but you never really know who's watching. And sometimes, the person watching is a lot closer than you might think.